welcome to the second review of the evening. It is a game called Concept Destruction. So this is a bit of an unusual game, not just in terms of aesthetics, but in terms of genre. It's a destruction, or it's rather a demolition derby. When I think of video game demolition derby, I think of destruction derby. PS1 pair of games there. And this is a destruction. Sorry, I'm gonna keep doing that. This is a demolition derby game, only with cardboard cards. A lot of difficult things to say this week in this review. Cardboard cars. Anyway, so the premise of this game is you are playing around with not just cardboard cars, but concept cars. That is to say that these are cars that are, if you don't know what a concept car is, it's not a prototype. It's a first imagining of what a car is going to look like. Usually they're modeled out of clay, but because they want to, according to this game, they want to get a sense of handling and stuff like that. And also, it's probably more fun to do. These are made out of cardboard. They rigged this up to RC technology, put a battery in there, and let them go loose on various arenas. And that's about it, if I'm being honest. It's a very simple concept. And there's not a lot of variance either. Like, each stage is going to play out pretty much the same in terms of what you're going to do. Like, it's all vanilla, crash the car until it doesn't move anymore.
Like Rush Hour.
If you weren't worried about totaling your car.
Have you seen the way some people drive?
I have.
Same here.
Today.
Oh, God.
Though you live in Florida, so does that really count?
Yes.
There are stupid drivers everywhere, Patty.
Like, I was fucking turning. You didn't have to blow your boat horn of a horn. The fuck you have in that vehicle? Sorry, we're getting off base here. Anyway, as you can see, since cardboard is a pretty soft and pliable material, it flattens pretty easily. Although your cars can actually take quite a shellacking depending on circumstances. Sometimes one hits is all it takes. Although that might just be like for the computer cars to keep the flow going.
I think some of it depends on where you hit it. I mean, there are different parts of your car. You have the main thing. The main thing it grades on are your wheels, the transmission, and the engine, and then you have a limited amount of battery.
Right. And it's also
you can take a lot of basic chassis damage.
Yeah. It's also worth noting that even though this game is a cardboard, it's a pretty fanciful kind of driving game. There's no weapons. You won't be busting out oil slicks or flamethrowers. No Mario Kart shit here.
I would say it's actually too realistic for that. The only really weird thing here is that this person has a very large drafting table and a lot of time to make prop walls and structures for their drafting table. There are 8 stages. One of them is this, which is like fucking Versailles Palace. Mm-hmm. One of them is Stonehenge. There's one that's like a tunnel with ramps going over it. And then there's the last one is just someone left 2 pizza boxes on the table, complete with some pizza left in one of them.
I hope they don't eat the pizza afterwards.
Yeah, there are 8 stages. There are 8 different cars, but the way you unlock, you start with just the one car. And the way you unlock more of them is by getting a total score in one championship. The championship mode is basically you pick a car and then you do a match on each of the 8 maps. So I did it once, and I don't think I even did very well, and I unlocked the first 4 unlockable cars, so there were only 3 left to do. That said, the controls in this are a little bit unforgiving. Honestly, this is a game that would really like to have an analog trigger because it uses the triggers for acceleration and deceleration, and I burned out my engine sometimes.
Yeah, it's worth noting that
because I always accelerate it, and when you have to like feather the acceleration, because if you just go all out, you're not going to have much control.
Yeah, it is worth noting that Galax played the Nintendo Switch version of this game. It's not a problem with the PC, and the fact that you can play with an Xbox One or PlayStation 4 controller.
Also, there's allegedly a multiplayer option, but I don't know how to do that. It's still grayed out on the main menu.
Yeah, I just didn't try out the multiplayer.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't have anyone. I didn't try hard. I didn't have anyone to play with anyway. But I was curious as to why it was grayed out, and I couldn't figure it out.
I couldn't tell you. I'm like,
maybe I just didn't have enough controllers connected. But most games let you connect a controller in the middle of a game.
Right.
Yeah, and the another thing you'll notice if you're looking at the overlay here is that the damage meters are not very
accurate,
precise. They're not inaccurate, but they basically have it's an outline of your car, and then like a little thingy of the transmission and a little thingy of the engine. And as they take damage, they get colored in yellow, and then sometimes orange, and then red, and then like red but flashing, and then black when you die. Also, if you drive off the edge of the table, which is possible on a few maps, you lose. Also, in the championship, you do have to keep playing a stage until you win. Like, you can't lose. Like, unlike some racing games, you can't lose a stage and continue. But you don't have to be the other players can. Other cars can place if they're not destroyed. You can also be disqualified if you go a certain amount of time. It's like 30 seconds or something, I think, out of like a 3-second match, either without moving or without hitting someone. Without moving is usually only a problem when you're getting pinned into a thing by other people. Without hitting someone can actually be an issue on some of the bigger maps. Once most of the people are out of commission, sometimes you might not be able to find the other person you need to hit. And unfortunately, if there are only 2 people left and you get disqualified, the other person doesn't get equally disqualified. You just lose. But it does let you start over from that map. So it's not like a harsh loss, like you have to start the whole championship over. But you can't have a stage that you suck at and just say, okay, I'm going to lose that one and strategically make up for it by doing really well in the other ones.
Anyway.
Also, each car has 3 colors. One of them is cardboard, and the other 2 depend on the model of car.
Right. And anyway, as far as the game itself goes, so it's all right. It plays well enough. It's just it's got no staying power. It's the kind of game if you played it for about half an hour to an hour, you're probably going to get your fill because, to turn a phrase here, the concept never changes. The arenas do, and that's where the variance comes in. but you know, in each area, you're doing the same thing over and over again. And
it seems like it would be more interesting, like if maybe play in multiplayer with friends, but then you'd need like more than just one friend.
Yeah.
And also, like, I guess if you want to try to unlock all the cars, that'll probably take some practicing. But I mean, like, what are you unlocking them for? If you unlock them all, you're doing well enough that you don't need the higher end car, which I don't know if they're actually like categorically better. But the cars have 3 stats. One is speed, one is handling, and the other one is weight. And I think weight does affect like how you
turn,
behave in crashes with other people, and probably how you handling is mostly how you turn. But I think higher weight cars also make your engine burn out faster. Because for my second championship, I tried using a car that had better handling but a lower speed and higher weight, and I was burning out my engine a lot more often.
Right. I didn't really have a problem with the engine burnout, but then again, I was able to use, you know, analog triggers. So. But yeah, it's, you know, it's the core problem of a lot of Radalakia backed games. Even though this game has, you know, a unique aesthetic and, you know, a not often explored genre, it's, you know, it's a pretty short affair, all in all. Like, and that being said, concerning the pricing, this game, well, it's the standard Radalakia price of $5, $4.99, and
it's not too bad for that.
No. It like if you pick this game up for $5, you probably won't regret it. You know, I'd say a mild recommendation just for the sake of novelty. You know, it's like.
Oh yeah. Also, there is a trading school, but the school is actually kind of hard without analog triggers.
Right.
You're supposed to just go back after one thing around the thing that.
Oh.
You're like literally taking 2.5 times as long as they wanted.
Don't mind me. I am not that bright.
Well, you seem to be able to handle it better than I was when I was trying to do it, so. So yeah, there's not a ton there. But I think it's fun enough. If the multiplayer is functional, like what does it do when you go to multiplayer?
Normal, survival, tourism.
Oh yeah, those are the options that exist in the single event thing.
Right.
Normal is the same as the championship thing. Survival is everybody going after you instead of everybody going after everybody equally. And tourism is you're invincible, just go nuts.
Oh, it's just split screen.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's thinking my keyboard's there.
Yeah, it's a local multiplayer only.
I have no idea why that's not unlocked on mine.
Latency issue, probably.
Do you need both Joy-Cons to control?
Actually, yeah, it might be that. Also, this game was this by Thin Ice, or was it
yeah, I think that's how you pronounce the developer's name.
It's written as Thin Ice as one word, and their logo is a dude stepping on a thing and it cracks around his feet, so I assume so.
Yeah. Let me see. Yeah, it's Thin Ice. Anyway.
Yeah, the Switch version I probably would not recommend on this comparatively.
Yeah, that's just kind of a problem with racing games on the Switch in general that aren't, say, Mario Kart. You know, anything that requires an analog trigger is going to be limited because we don't. I don't know why Nintendo refuses to make analog triggers in their modern day systems. The GameCube had analog triggers. They know how to make analog triggers, but they refuse to make analog triggers. I don't know why.
Okay, I will say there's kind of a bug right now in the PC version, where if you do multiplayer, for some reason it switches the keyboard and mouse to how you control instead of the controller.
Okay, so maybe it's just glitching anyway. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a bit odd.
Yeah.
Well, maybe the developer will see this review and fix that.
Mm-hmm.
It's happened before. At least, they'll acknowledge the problem. Not sure how fixable it is. But, yeah. Anyway, so anything else to mention on concept destruction?
The music is fairly generic, hardish rock.
Yeah, I suppose it's the kind of stuff that you would expect for a destruction derby if they couldn't afford any rights to any music.
So what you're saying is no Paradise City.
I don't think Paradise City would fit for a destruction, a demolition derby type thing.
I mean Burnout Paradise.
Right. Then again, I don't really know what kind of music would go with a demolition derby because not my field of entertainment.
Something, lots of banjos.
Sure, let's go with that. Anyway, so bottom line on concept destruction here, it's a game that had some neat ideas. It's got a really strong aesthetic, and I can see what they were shooting for. It's just it ends. It falls short of the mark because it never changes. But then again, I don't know how much you can do with Demolition Derby on its own. Maybe there should have been a proper racing mode or something here to give some more lastability. But then again, on the same token, another game we're reviewing this week has kind of the same problem. But we'll get to that when we get to that. Ultimately, I'd say that this is a fairly average game. It's just let down by the length of time that you'll actually be wanting to spend with it, unless you're really into crashing cardboard cars. Any other thoughts?
No? At least not that I can think of.
I think I'm done.
All right, so that'll do it for Concept Destruction here. Be sure to tune in after the break as we'll be reviewing Random Heroes